So Black history is American history. It's an integral part of the history of this country, both physically and culturally. So I think it's really important, if we're to really understand our history as a whole, then Black history has to be a big part of that as well.
I think it's important for us to learn about this part of history because a lot of us, including me, didn't have a lot of opportunity to do that growing up. And a lot of the information that I've seen already coming out of the Black Employee Resource Group is stuff I really just didn't have any idea about our own history in our country.
Now is the time for this issue. Companies need to take it seriously, and they need to make sure that they're not just giving lip service to this issue because it's going to further isolate their employees of color.
It's easy not to take notice of something that doesn't affect you, but we all have a responsibility to educate ourselves in things that we don't understand. And perhaps if we did, we would perhaps be in a better place today. We spend too much time in our own little bubble. And if you don't step out of your bubble and find out what's going on in someone else's, how can you empathize?
I think the whole topic of DE&I generates discomfort, but we have to be comfortable in our discomfort, because if we're not, then we're never going to have diversity, we're never going to be inclusive, and we're never going to provide equity within Milliman, within the work that we do, within broader society.
Right now, the number of Black employees at Milliman, especially at a progressive level, is too low. But you're not going to change that overnight.
So working backwards, then what do? You have to recruit appropriately. You have to advance people. So people have career tracks when they come in. It's including people when you have an equal playing field to take a chance on someone that would normally be there, to bring them into it in order to foster inclusion.
And certainly that we can all be part of the challenge to make Milliman as inclusive of an organization as possible. And in many ways, I think we're there. There's a high degree of respect for people across the firm. So I'm happy we're looking at it and thinking hard about more tangible action now. But we have a long ways to go.
I really believe that growth is usually uncomfortable. And so I think that the fact that having, candid conversations about these important issues that make us uncomfortable is a sign that we are hopefully growing in the process.
I think that's exactly why we need to force ourselves to get comfortable with those uncomfortable conversations and to have them. And it's why we need allies to be able to speak up and to think about those things and say, that's maybe not the best idea. Maybe we should try something else, and not put it on the one Black person to have to say, this is uncomfortable for me.
Being an ally to a person of color is a commitment to being active in that role, looking at our own unconscious biases, looking through our own experiences, and looking at our circle. Is there diversity in our friend circle? And how does that line up with diversity, equity, and inclusion as well?
Allyship is really wanting for someone else what you want for yourself.
I really don't think the term ally means anything without action. You can't post something on Instagram and say, I'm an ally, and put hashtags and expect that to affect any real change.
Allyship is a tricky word. DEI efforts cannot move forward without allies, right? We need people who are in the room when those types of decisions are being made. Those are people who are allies. They're people who can create change, they have influence over others, and they have a seat at the table.
I see Milliman as a leader because of its high risk management standards. So I'm hoping that with initiatives like the formation of the Black ERG, other companies will look to us not only for actuarial standards, but also for diversity standards as well.
I'm hopeful that the Berg ultimately becomes a group that is a thought leader within not just the actuarial industry, but perhaps within the broader business discipline.
In 5 years, I hope my practice has hired more people of color and has shown the colleges and maybe even high schools that going into a profession with Milliman is a place where people want to be. I would like to see them stalking me on LinkedIn and saying, how can I get an interview with your company? Because it's such a great place for them to be.
The actuarial profession has had a diversity problem for the entirety of my career. But Milliman, we're leaders. We call ourselves leaders in the actuarial profession. Now let's lead.